Hi, my name is Brienne, and today we're going to be doing another thing on the Brother Stellaire. We're going to be taking like coloring book pages, and I'm going to show you how to fill them in so you can embroider them. There's a few ways to do this. So this image my husband actually drew for me, and it'll be available on our website soon. And so I just go into camera and I'm going to take a picture. The farther you take it away, I found is a little bit better because when you transfer it over, it comes up so big and you can only size down so much. So I've taken my picture and now I'm going to go to the Brother My Design Snap app and I'm going to select image for pattern editing, and I'm going to choose my photo and I'm going to hit send to the machine. So that is one way you can do this. Other way is like instead of printing this out, is just downloading it straight to your iPad or tablet, and I just go into the My Design Snap app, hit the same button, select design, and I downloaded it the other day. So I'll just hit select it and see it comes up just the same, but that was just my download, and I'm going to hit send to the machine. And so now I actually have two versions sent to the machine. So now let's go over to the machine. I've turned it on and I'm going to go to My Design Center. I'm going to go up here to the little leaf looking picture with an arrow, and I'm going to hit the Wi-Fi because that is how I have sent it over. You could also send it over by putting it on a USB from your computer and plugging it into your machine. So now I'm going to show you that both of them have arrived in this machine just so you can see it. So here is the second one. This is the one I sent directly from my iPad. And then this is the one where I took a picture and sent it to the machine. So see, you can see that like I'd have to crop down, but it's a little smaller. But either one worked. So I'm going to hit set. And now I'm going to go to little leaf outline line button up here. All right. So first I'm going to zoom in so it doesn't have all this extra stuff that it's trying to read, because I only need the 3 eggs for Easter. And you can change, if your image was not just black, if it was like black and grays, you can change like the level of detection right here and go all the way up if you need to. And right here, this is showing me that my line is going to be a satin stitch and black. I go ahead and hit OK, and it's going to transform, and I'm going to say set. Once I clicked on the machine, my little box for sizing disappeared, but I'll show you how to bring that back in just a second. But I don't like this background picture being here, so I'm going to click the white button to disappear. Now I'm going to draw a box around all of them to get my size. I suggest first sizing it to the image you want. I have made my hoop say that it's 4 by 4, and of course you can do that by going to this little page with the turn down and clicking your frame size here. So if you want larger or bigger, I think that helps give you a little reference for what you're doing. So now that it's selected, I'm going to go to size, and I want to make it all go down on the same like way. Like I want both horizontal and verticals to do that. You could just do one or the other. So I'm going to drag that down, and then I'm going to try to move that into that box to just see about where it is. I'm actually going to sew on a 5x7 frame because I wanted them just right around 4. So this works really good for me. If I was like, you know, I'd like them a little taller, I could click on this. If I wanted them a little wider or a little skinnier, you know, there's a lot of options you can do depending on what you're trying to color in. So I'm going to hit OK. And they are the way I wanted. If I would have accidentally like maybe taken that picture sideways or something, you might want to go in here and like rotate it, you know, because you can. Or if maybe the hoop you're using, you need to rotate it. And this machine gives you lots of ways to rotate, which was nice. I mean, 1 degree, 10 degree, degree, or 90. So I'm going to hit OK. Now, I like to zoom in to see exactly what I am doing up here. And I'm going to use, you can use the paintbrush if you'd like. That means you're going to come in here and like color everything. I don't like that, and I like things fast. So I'm going to hit the undo, which is this arrow down here, which is very helpful. I like to use the paint bucket. So I select that, and then I'm going to select this item. Now, I'm going to fill in this egg, and I actually don't want it a satin stitch. It's an Easter egg. I'm going to have a little fun with this. So I'm going to choose, I don't know what it's called, but it looks like a whole bunch of like scribbles and stuff. And these are the only color choices you get. But you don't have to worry about that much. The biggest thing is making sure you choose different colors so that it stops each time. Because as you know, what doesn't matter what this says, it just matters what color you pick up off your out of your thread collection. This one had those pretty flowers on it, so I think I want to have a green background. So I am going to fill it in with green. Now, I could either start with the flowers or I can work over here, but it will go in the order. It will not always go in the order that you put it in. So it will sometimes condense. So like, say I want to go back to satin stitching, and I want a pink. I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to come over here and choose both of these. And while I'm at it, I'm going to also, sometimes you have to zoom in to get like these smaller areas. I'm going to do 2 of the polka dots. Then, so I'm going to choose some yellow, and I want like that. And I'm going to zoom in, and you can use this box over here to go like to now this egg. And I am going to select all the parts of that flower there. And then I can zoom out so I can see it more, or I can move this red box if I want to color, like say something yellow on that egg. Let's see. Let's do a little bit of purple. We're going to do this line and this line, I think, in purple. Then let's do this and that in orange. And I'm going to zoom in again so I can go over to these flowers, and I'm going to make one of these flowers orange. Sometimes you have to find exactly where to click to fill in, as that's what that little ding noise was. We need some turquoise or some blue in here, so let's choose some blue, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to choose blue for both of these. Oops, it changed my zigzag, so I want to undo that and come and hit that. So as you see, that egg is right now done, but we still have these 2 eggs to finish. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more dots. And then let's see. Let's do like a light blue here and here. I think that would look pretty. And I have like a corally color I was going to use, so let's maybe use that as my coral. And then I think my daughter's telling me I need some more green in this, so I'm going to choose a mint green. And Lizzie, what color do you think that background should be?
I don't know, but all I know is it's unicorn colors.
And then we also have.
It could maybe be like more of a turquoise, because that part was more of a like dark blue, and then the other part was a mint. So it could be like
okay.
Mix. But that might be too many blues and greens.
Okay, so we will.
Ooh, I like it.
Well, that's going to represent our turquoise-like color.
We'll have to decide.
I think we need something bright here, and we need to finish off our flowers. I think I'm going to go back and choose the pink for this flower here. And I'm going to do, oops, I'm going to zoom that in a little bit more and go up and choose that center to be pink. And then let's do it as a light purple.
A lavender?
Yeah. And then let's go ahead and pick our orange and fill in those 2. And our yellow, that's not very yellow. One thing you could do is on your coloring book page, is if you print 2, is I have colored it. The colors I want are wrote on there. That sometimes makes it easier, but with Easter eggs, you really can't go wrong. And I've never seen Easter eggs be colors they shouldn't be.
Easter eggs can be any color.
As you see, sometimes those little bitty ones are a little hard. So now we have, let's zoom out and make sure we have everything colored, and we do. Now, as you saw, when you're in this, you could also choose to have this like dot pattern.
That means it's got honeycomb.
The satin, or you could actually choose no stitch, but if you're choosing no stitch, I guess maybe if you had a piece, I'm actually, like, I don't know personally, like, why I would use this. I have not needed this yet, but maybe there's a project where you want an empty space, so you could choose that. But as you know, most embroidery patterns are all done with the satin stitch. So here are my Easter eggs. This is for the line. So as you saw, this was fill. This is the line. I'm selected now on the lines. They're all highlighted. If I didn't want them black, I could choose and come up here and select like balloon. Then I just select on the line, and it's going to change all the connected lines to blue. As you see, my dots and some of my flowers that are not connected didn't change, so I'd have to individually go and select those. But I actually do want them in black, so I don't need to do that. So few other things, like say I wanted the lines all based off of one of these colors, I could use the eye droplet to select the color. Oops, that's leaving some marks. But like, so on the fill, when I was trying to match the color, I could have selected, you know, green and see it changes. So you can select the color, and then now I could go back to paint bucket instead of the paint brush to fill in a little bit more. Oops.
So if you do that, just tap on that one first.
If you didn't like something, you could always do this. Say you decided you didn't want that dot there, you could just erase it completely. I would suggest doing that actually before you fill it in, but that is an option. So there are my things. As you see, the size is not selected anymore. I could do this and still size it down. So now we're going to hit next. This is going to walk you through every selection, see as it goes. Okay, the first thing I like to do though is I like to group them all together with the chains. That is selecting all of my satin stitching. And I like to turn under sewing on. You don't have to, that is just my preference. This is pull compensation. This is your density. I have made this more or less. And then this is auto. This is your direction. I wouldn't manually do it for all of them at the same time, but I do like doing them. So I'm going to turn that off, and now I am going to go section by section. Like, and if I select the lines, it shows me what it's at. It's going to be at an 80 and 100% density. I'm going to move that down because I want a pretty thin line. But as you see, my dots and my flowers are not selected. So I'm going to have to set this and zoom in over here on this one. And I need to come through and change all of these to the same numbers, or they're going to look a little off. And if you've noticed, it's in black. So if I go up or down, that box goes away. that's to help you know where default was at. So every time I select, it's taking that box away. Now I'm gonna move this so I can see all my flowers. And I'm gonna select just, what's the color? There we go. The reason I'm doing this is because I don't want that satin stitch line to be so much that it's blocking my colors. You know how like sometimes you get a pattern and that image is so, like there's a piece that's so small you can barely see it. So this is one of the ways I do it, is by changing how big that satin stitch is. So now I'm gonna zoom out. I got all of my pieces for that. Now we could go by color. Now you can leave this all auto, or I like to sometimes mess with the direction manually and not make the computer do it. And by doing that, you can change it here. So like right now, it's set at a 45. So I like the 45, and I will, let me zoom in. I'm trying to get this other orange, and I want to say manual 45 set. Okay, now I want the pink, and I'm going to do manual, and I'm going to go 290. Then you have your blue. Go to 15. One reason I'm also doing this is so you can see the difference in the stitching when it's done. So here's the yellow. I do not always take this much time on them, and it definitely gets faster as you go. You learn exactly like where to touch for the dots and stuff on your machine. So now I'm gonna go over to this one, and I'm gonna just look. So we did 0, we did 15, we're doing 45, and then 90. So if we wanted, let's go 165 is, so do this one the same, which it's an Easter egg. It doesn't have to be the same. And as you saw, if you press and hold, it'll go all the way to the top. And then as you can tell, I'm right-handed. I can get to it better from over there. So this one's going to be 75. If you decided to change your mind about the different stitching, this here is showing you that it's straight. I'm going to select it, and this is where I could change it to the zigzag or even to the dot. But when you go to the dot, you actually have all of these. It's really just a pattern. I think this might look cool in the Easter eggs. And we're going to leave it the color. And see, now it's changed it in there. And I can change the sizing to be smaller or bigger. I can change the direction, and I can change the outline. So I'm just going to hit set for that. And then this one we already had selected as this pattern. You can select the pitch, so you can make it smaller, a lot larger. I want it on the smaller side for this project because it's already going to be small. Actually, we could. Let's go ahead and do 48. The spacing. Actually, no, I want. Okay, there we go, 80. And then your distance, and I'm going to hit set. Now, you can hit preview. It's going to say your data is not going to be saved. Hit OK, and it's going to, do the computer processing of it, right? Now, this is what it shows you. I don't know about you, but that's hard for me to see. So I go to the little hoop with a zigzag line because I can zoom in and see what it looks like. I also can see what it would look like on different hoops, and I can also see how it would stitch. I could do this normal or even at a faster speed and hit this, and it will show me exactly how it's going to stitch. And then again, I like that you can zoom in to see the different stitching. As you see, these two stitches are not as much as I wanted. So I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to hit return because I want those way closer together. So I'm going to try to see what that will look like. Now, as you see, when I zoom in, it made it more like I wanted. I wanted it to kind of feel like a grass and zigzaggy, and that's what it's now done. So I'm going to hit OK because I still want to fix this one over here. There it is. That one. Apparently this was too much of a pattern. I could, though, change the size. Like, let's go down to, let's try 50. The direction doesn't matter. Outline, yes. So set. Let's see what that does. See, it brought in a little bit more, but that to me almost looks like a crack shell. So I think I am actually going to just change this back to a satin stitch and call it a day on that. So now we're back to a satin. I could change this, or I could leave it in auto. So now I'm going to hit set, and I'm going to hit preview. Now, it's all set. It's all ready to go. You see your colors lined up here. But this is not saved. Yes, this machine has a thing if something would happen and the power goes out, it's supposed to bring back up your right from where you're at. But if you ever think you're going to sew this again or whatever, I suggest saving it. You have a memory here. You can save it to the machine, and now it's just in the internal box. I do that for the ones I like. I want to save them just because in case something happens to that one, but once I'm done, I'm going to delete it. Or you can save it to a USB stick. And actually, I don't think one's plugged into my machine right now. But so if I had this in and I hit the USB, it saves it to that. So that's really nice to have that done. As you see, this is going to take 30 minutes and it's going to be 17,215 stitches, and I have 13 color changes. And my size is just under 4 inches by like 3.5. I'm going to hit set. It's now telling me it's going to convert it to the actual embroidery pattern. I'll say okay. Now, if you could not get it to move down anymore, I've had a few images, when I sized them down, it went as far as it could go in the design space. This way, if that happens to you on a coloring page or an image you're trying to do, you can also size it here. Which, as you know, though, this also has a limit of how much it can shrink. So it will depend on how much you're trying to get it to shrink. But you have 2 ways to shrink it a little bit more. And I could also make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so make sure it's in its original. I can move it. I could flip it if I wanted to make one of each kind. This one's not a patch. This is if you're trying to do like a run-on. We're not doing that. Oh, that's if I was trying to turn this into a quilting block. Don't need that today. Let's see. This one, if you decided you wanted to change the color, you could change it in here. And this actually gives you way more color choices. So if you are somebody who really needs the colors on the screen to match the colors you're sewing, like here are some, I mean, the popular companies like Silky, and like, I mean, you could be here for days changing your color because of all the color differences it gives you. I'm just going to hit reset because I don't want to change any of mine. Let's see, what else might you use? If you don't need moving, sizing, rotating, you can hit embroidery. And now it brings up this. And then, of course, you have your layout here where you can hit this button, and it now has made them all one color. Your snowman, you can rotate and move it. A basting stitch if you like to have that on your machine. I've been sometimes using that. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. That is so it puts your thread colors in the order. Like if I would have had orange here and then orange again later, it would have put them all together. Something we use a lot because we have 2 machines set up, and we have like this behind our arm that I use this button here, and it will show me where it goes. So I like to hit like the bottom corners and look at where my arm is going, because I don't want it to hit that cabinet, which if I'm using a bigger hoop has happened, or if we're on that machine, it's hit our machine. So these buttons help you make sure that you're not going to hit anything, or if you have your hoop in, it'll show you exactly where it's going to sew. So I'm gonna go, I've already hooped my fabric and my stabilizer. This is just medium weight tearaway that I get from Hammond Brothers. And I'm gonna put this in, lock it down, and then like if I wanted to make sure where it's sewing, like I could hit this button and then it's going to draw a box around where my embroidery will go. I have a full bobbin in, so it shouldn't be affected. So it says orange is our first color. So I'm gonna go ahead and thread my machine.
It's a bright orange, like a pumpkin.
Thread. And well, since it did that, I'm gonna pull that through and trim it just a little bit. All right, now it is going to sew. Alright, well, it's now done. As you can see, even the 80 was too much for a little bit of the flowers and the dots. But that is how. Alright, so it's done. It did a great job. As you can tell, a few of the flowers and the dots, that black was still too much. I might actually next time not even do the line around those dots and just leave the dots there. Wouldn't make them as like sharp, but I do think it would be really cool. Or maybe I could turn the line into that color and that would probably make them pop too. So that's how we went from this to this. Thank you for watching Adventures from Kansas. If you have some comments of other things you weren't seeing with the machine, please let me know. And I hope you enjoyed this video and follow us to see more. Thank you.